Today we have Shlomo Mofaz, who is a fellow at the International Institute for Counter-Terrorism in Herzliya, Israel. Welcome, Shlomo. Thank you for joining us. And you also were a former head Counter-Terrorism Analysis Department of ITF Israel. You have a huge experience in terrorism issues and topics. We are at the beginning of 2021, and we hope that it will be a COVID-free year, so that all the intelligence community could start again working only on terrorism issues. And it would be great to start with you, see what kind of scenarios, global scenarios, we can predict for 2021. And the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I will start with the trends around the world, and then I will focus a little bit about the organizations that we are in Israel dealing with them most of the time, most of the year. The COVID-19 has also an influence on the terrorist arena, because even terrorists can have the flu, and they can have problems with that. So it sometimes reduces the activity of the terrorist organizations in the last year. We have seen it in our area, not exactly doing nothing, but they have to take time to take care of themselves, because also their people have the COVID-19. If we speak about the organization that we are dealing here in our area, we have the most powerful organization, terror organization in the world. It's not only a terror organization, it's a semi-military organization, the Hezbollah. This is an organization, as you probably know, with thousands of rockets and missiles. I don't know if there is any other organization around the world that has some kind of capability. This organization has about thousands of well-trained people that joined the organization. And also it has another advantage, that it has a supportive country, Iran. Which is the most, number one in the world country supporting terrorism. This organization got from Iran about $100 million a year support from Iran directly. But this organization as well has its own system, because this organization was established officially in 1985, so it has a lot of experience and fighting Israel, and actually the organization is controlling Lebanon. So
with a criminal pattern that is international, because they were pioneers all around the world in terms of criminal pattern. That's why they are so important, not only for Israel, but for the international community, I think.
Yes, this organization had footprints all around the world. They started in the 80s, and they continued to build the structure. This structure allowed them in the past to do some retaliation activity against Israel in South America, because this is one of the most places that they have a very good infrastructure, because of Lebanese communities in Argentina, in Brazil, and all this area. You know about it very, very well. They did it in 1992, in 1994, and other activities around the world. They have also in Europe, also in United States. But the money flow of the organization, it's not only from Iran. Last week, there was published an article that was leaked to the Israeli newspaper, about the banking system of Hezbollah. There is a slide. We have a slide here.
Show now.
Yes, that can show the system. We can see that the bank is running about $1 billion a year. This bank controls the money of Hezbollah that comes from Lebanese citizens, from international business, legitimate business, and criminal activities.
This bank is based in Lebanon?
Yes, this bank is Lebanon, but this bank has an international activity. It's called the Al Hassan Bank. You can see it on the slide. And the money, as I say, came from criminal, international business, Lebanese citizens that donation all around the world, and Iranian support. All this money goes to the bank, and through the bank, that they pay the salaries of Hezbollah, financing the terror activity, laundering Iranian money all around the world, and they have this is the hub for connection from to other legitimate banks, so they can do the businesses legally, laundering money. But the hub of this activity is this Lebanese bank that works from Hezbollah, and they established actually a economic system parallel to the Lebanese system, like they have with the military activity. In Lebanon, Hezbollah is the most powerful organization, more than the Lebanese army, more from the government. They have their own army, their own activities, their own arms, missiles, and so on.
We can see that Hezbollah was able to set up a kind of economic jihad. Not only a military jihad, but also an economic, because they were able to set up an international network of banks, logistics. So it's a very sophisticated level of criminality, don't you think?
Yes, the criminality, as you said, the criminal and the terrorism goes together. Part of it is the activity with drugs, because the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon, which is actually under the control of Hezbollah, a lot of opium, cocaine, and all these other things came from this area. They smuggled it to Europe, to United States, and also to Israel, and it's one of the main sources of money. They also, according to the research, they also have connection with drug criminals in South America and other places, that they help them with the dissemination of the drugs from South America to Europe, through Lebanon, through Europe, with this infrastructure of drugs that they have in Lebanon. So, and also this is a very good opportunity for them to laundering the money that they earn from criminal activity.
You wrote an interesting article, paper, that has been published on the website of ICT website, and you say many things. I think that two are very interesting. You say that Hezbollah is facing internal problems in the form of political and social crisis in Lebanon, despite the formation of a new government. And also, there are some conflict with Iran, which is the main sponsor of Hezbollah, concerning the presence in Syria, the Iranian presence in Syria. So do you think that in 2021, we're gonna see an Hezbollah which will be more weak, more limited, because Iran also is very weak at the moment?
There's two ways to look at it. The article was about 2 or 3 years ago, but the situation it's not better today, because there is a crisis in Lebanon, a political crisis, an economic crisis in Lebanon, and because the government, the instability of the government of Lebanon, and they don't have a government that can rule the Lebanese country, and a lot of people leave Lebanon, and a lot of money of citizens of Lebanon goes out. Hezbollah is part of the political system. So he has members in the parliament, members in the government, and this is one of the conflicts that they have with the Lebanese government. They are part of the government. They want to influence the government. On the other hand, there are some voices inside Lebanon that are against Hezbollah. This is a very complicated issue. We don't go into details about the structure in Lebanon between the Christians, the Muslims, the Druze, and Hezbollah, and the others. Iran, on the other hand, have a strategic conflict with Israel, and they use Hezbollah as his strategic arm in the Middle East. This is the reason that they established Hezbollah in the 80s after the Iranian Revolution. So, because of the situation in Syria since the 10 or 8 years ago, Hezbollah came and support Syria against the people that went against the regime, and also Iran. Now Iran wants to have a footprint in Syria, and Israel, not officially, attacking every week, every month their infrastructure in Iranian Revolutionary Guard and Hezbollah infrastructure in Syria. Israel don't take responsibility officially for this activity because it's let's say it's undercover activity, but they use Israel according to foreign publications, not according to official one, airstrikes and other activity to attack the Iranian infrastructure in Syria. And I think that in 2021, Israel will continue, because Israel saw that it's has some success with this activity, and the chaos in Lebanon doesn't give more power to Hezbollah. So until the regime in Lebanon, there will be a stability in Lebanon, but I'm not sure that it will happen next year, because the situation from the beginning, from the roots, it's very problematic. Hezbollah will maneuver between the activity against Israel and the support of Iran and the Iran activity in Syria.
The last two questions. As you know, the United States are changing their president. Biden is the new president, and one of the hot issues is the nuclear deal. I want to ask you, having as a perspective, having a background Latin America, as you know, Iran now is very strong in Venezuela. Do you think that, depending on the result of the deal or not, South America could play an important role for, as it did in the past, for Iran, for the nuclear program? Or do you think that now Latin America is out of the games?
The issue of the nuclear issue of Iran and the new agreement, all the experts think that Biden will go back to the agreement, maybe better agreement. And by the way, today he announced that the new head of the CIA, John Barnes, is a very experienced guy. He was the ambassador to Russia, and he also was involved in the agreement, the first agreement in in Obama administration, it's Under Secretary of Defense. It was part of the. So I think that the main issue will be in this agreement to put more inspection of Iran. I'm not sure that South America will be in first priority or second priority. Maybe if it goes well and the Western countries will be satisfied from this agreement, I'm not sure that Israel, with this administration, with Benjamin Netanyahu, will support this move. But since Biden is not Trump, and also Israel needs to understand that the relationship with the Democrats in the United States, even though all the years the Democrats also support Israel like the Republicans, but the issue of the agreement will be very sophisticated, very complicated, and I'm not sure that South America will be in the first priorities in this agreement, the results of this agreement.
Yeah, because we have to remind that in South America we have 2 attacks in the 90s. The only 2 attacks were in South America, in Argentina, against the Jewish communities in Argentina. The last question is about terror maps. Many experts stress the role of Africa in the next months. We have Al-Qaeda, we have ISIS revamping in many countries like Nigeria, Boko Haram, etc. Africa in the past was a hotspot for Hezbollah to just let's remind Sudan, etc. Do you think that Africa is still essential for Hezbollah? So we have to add Hezbollah to this map, or in this moment Hezbollah is much more interested in South America, in the United States?
Part of the philosophy part of the policy of Hezbollah, they had established infrastructure all around the world. The infrastructure, as we spoke, and as you know, is based on Shia communities or Lebanese communities around the world. So there are some communities, Lebanese communities in Africa, and Hezbollah has in the past activity, and sometimes they try to do some activity against Israeli and American interests in Africa, but this is not the first priority of Hezbollah. They can use in the future the infrastructure in Africa as a retaliation. If they can do nothing in Europe, if they can do nothing in the United States and South America, Africa will be third or fourth chance for them to do it, but not the first priority and not second priority.
Thank you so much, Shlomo. There is something that you want to add to our conversation?
Yeah, I want to say that I'm not sure that all around the world people understand very well the role of Hezbollah as the leading terrorist organization around the world. I see in the last year more and more countries, United States, Canada, Germany, and other countries now recognize Hezbollah officially as a terror organization. In the past, there was the political arm and the military arm, but today more and more countries understand that Hezbollah it's a terror, guerrilla, semi-military organization, and it is a strategic arm of Iran. In the past, some say, okay, Iran, maybe because they are Shia, they have connection, but today it's very clear that they are a strategic arm of Iran and the full cooperation with them. And all the countries that support peace and the right way to live, I think needs to understand that this organization, it's one of the bad organizations in the world and the leading one in the world. And I hope more and more countries around the world will join the announcement that this is a terror organization.
Let's remind that in Europe, Hezbollah was able to stock a lot of TNT explosive material in UK and we don't know in countries. So it's a problem for everybody in Europe, not only for Israel, and also in South America for sure, because it's connected to drug trafficking.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Shlomo. Thank you.
Thank you.
For joining us.
Thank you.